So I've recently acquired these two little camera accessories, and I think they're awesome, and I want to tell you why. Let's dive in. So both these accessories are from Peak Design, and Peak Design doesn't know anything about this video. They didn't sponsor this video. I bought these both with my own money. And the reason I did is Steve and I recently returned from NAB, where we saw our good friend and master photographer, Abba Shapiro. And Abba was talking about some of his gear, especially a bag that he had that was Peak Design. So I decided to check some of their stuff out, and that led me to purchase both these. And let's first get into this one right here, which is a mobile tripod. So before I show you the details of it, here's my thinking. I don't like to add a lot of stuff to my phone. In fact, right now my phone doesn't even have a case because the case that I had, the Apple Silicon case, started to peel apart and I took it apart. And I don't want to buy another one because I want to get the new iPhone. It comes out in the fall and I'm sure it'll take a different case. Anyway, when I travel around, I like to keep my iPhone as light as possible. Now at NAB, Steve had outfitted his iPhone with a full cage and was able to do ProRes recording and had a big setup for it, which was actually very compact relative to other options for shooting interviews and the type of stuff we were doing. So that really made sense. But day to day, I just like to keep my phone as simple as possible. And there are a ton of accessories you can use to add to your phone with various filters and cases and microphones and lights and what have you. But the reality is, I like something that just fits in my pocket. Now, the reason this was so interesting to me from Peak Design, this little portable tripod, is because it mounts directly on your back of your phone. And it's still very light. And I can just keep this thing on here all the time, and it allows me to use the camera for shooting video in a very stable way. And let's switch to the other camera and I'll show you why. So this is the little mobile tripod from Peak Design. And what I love about this, first of all, the build quality is fantastic. It's very solid metal. It's got a very strong magnet in here. So in my case, I have just a bare phone and it just attaches right there. Oh, upside down, right there. And it's very firmly attached. I wouldn't try to hold it by this or anything. It'll, you can slide it right off again. Super easy to attach and take off. But I leave this on and I just carry my phone around with it on. And the nice thing about this is, well, there's a lot of nice things about this, but you can flip out these legs just to use as a little stand like that, or on the side like that, very quickly. But they also flip out to full tripod status. And not only that, usually the problem is you end up with a phone on this kind of angle, but this has a ball head in here, which allows you to tilt the phone on any angle you want. And you can be horizontal or vertical, it doesn't matter. And you can tilt the phone completely independent from the state of the legs. So you can get the legs to be firm on very different types of surfaces and still get the phone to point where you want, and it's very, very stable for recording video. These legs also, by the way, these tips of these legs are like, I don't know, like a hard rubber, so they're really grippy, which is really great. And this ball head is hard to move around, so it's nice and stiff, but it's also adjustable. This is a built-in tool right here. If you pop here, this little tool flips up, and then you can use this to adjust the tension of the ball head right in there, which I don't think you need to do, but it's great to be able to do that. Maybe over time it gets a little bit worked in and you need to tighten it up a little bit. So I love this because of its strong build, but mostly, boom, it's away, it's on the back of the phone all the time. I can just slip the whole thing in my pocket. This will work on any kind of mag case as well, anything that will keep magnetic through it. And you can just take it off too and slip it in another pocket. So this is something that I'll actually use and take around with me to be able to set up and shoot somewhere on a moment's notice where I don't have a regular camera with me. I just love how flexible it is, how easy it is to set up in seconds, and how adjustable it is for shooting either in vertical or portrait or landscape modes. And you can kind of see how it sets up right there. So very, very cool product. Costs about 80 bucks. And to me, this is worth it because it's something I will actually carry around and use. And this is the second product. This is called the Capture. It's a camera clip. And when I'm shooting with my mirrorless camera, a bigger camera, and I might have it completely outfitted, it weighs quite a bit more. And I hate using a camera strap because the camera can swing around. So I usually just carry it by hand and don't really ever put it down. But this allows me to click it onto my belt or onto a backpack strap really easily. And it's also very solidly built. I just want to show you up close before how to use it. So you twirl these open so that you can slip it onto your belt or on a strap, and then it locks down very securely. And then here is the release for it. So I'll show you the mounting plate in a second, but the cool thing about this release is it's also lockable. So now it won't release, and then you twist it this way and it will release. And you can quickly do this with one hand. So this is the part that goes onto your belt or your strap. And then this is the mounting plate for the camera. And the cool thing about this is it's in all directions. So you can mount this onto that clip by turning the camera in 4 different directions. And they supply the little Allen wrench. I know you've got a million of these already in order to attach this to the bottom of the camera. So now I'm recording with the iPhone sitting on the little tripod, perfectly stable, and was able to set it up like I like. I have the Capture little camera clip mounted on my belt here. Super easy and fast to mount on here. That's the little release plate. And if I'm just shooting photography, I'm running around, and I often might not bring my camera, you know, my quote good camera, and this is A7S III, which I use primarily for video, but I enjoy using it for photography as well. And I often don't bring it because I have to have a separate bag for it, or I'm carrying it by hand. Often I'll just carry it by hand because I'm nervous about leaving it in a bag. But I love that now I can just with one hand slip this right on there, and it's good, and it's not going anywhere. It's perfectly stable. I can move this to the front or move it to a backpack strap, but it's perfectly stable. And what's nice about this, with one hand I can release it because I'm pressing that release at the same time. So super easy, one-handed operation to put it down, you know, switch to my iPhone or maybe another camera or whatever, and just have it here, accessible, very easy, and I can walk around and very quickly grab it when I need to. This little guy is also in the $80 range. Solid as a rock. You can see I've got that mounting plate on it. You know, it'd be nice if that mounting plate I could also put on, I think it's ARCA compatible. You can put it on certain tripods. It won't work with the particular tripods I use, but it's on here solid as a rock too. And again, it's multi-positional, so I'm sliding it on like this, but you could slide it on in any direction you want, and it's going to work in that direction, any of the 4 directions that you want to put it on. I just like it here because by my grip, I can slip it on with one hand, and I can slip it off one hand and shoot, and then put it back in there again. So great for photography, or if you're doing video kind of on the run where you're not using a gimbal, or you're not using a cage or a separate monitor. But even if you do all that, it's still possible to use this. But this is how I would normally really shoot with my camera rigged out. So it's the same 24mm on here, but with, you know, the cage on here and a Tilta little matte box, and I've got an ND, variable ND on here, and then a Ninja with a hood and a battery. So a lot more weight. And, you know, it's really not designed for this, but it totally works. So if I'm out shooting like this, usually I'm just carrying this around all the time and looking for a safe space to put it down, which I'm always nervous about. But now what I can do is take this thing and just slip it on like that, and it's not going anywhere. It's totally firm on here. And there's a little bit of pull, of course. I mean, there's a lot of weight going on here. I've even done it with the 35 to 150 Tamron, which is a tank. But I can sort of hold it here, and it just takes the weight off my wrist and arm when I'm walking around a lot and shooting. And I can then take out my phone or deal with something else while it's on here, and it's absolutely not going anywhere. And again, because of this quick release, if I don't lock it, all I need to do, I can tap it with this finger and pull it off right away to be able to shoot. So I think it's great even for a camera that's rigged out. So I love both these tools. I'll have this on my phone probably all the time. And I'll probably have this on my belt a lot. And because of that, I'll be shooting a lot more. Tell me what you think about these. If you've used them, if you use something else, would love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.